Hey, everybody out there. My name is Dan Baker with Blue Collar Talent Scouts, and I am joined by my partner.
I'm Wood Boyles. Nice to be here with you guys.
Yeah, definitely nice to be here with you guys. We are joining everybody else out there in the U.S. when it comes to Zoom meetings. Blue Collar Talent Scouts, we are a consulting and recruiting firm we're specifically dedicated to the blue collar trades. With all the stuff that's going on in the country right now, we wanted to record a series of short videos to really just kind of help contractors and folks that are in the field have a really good handle and understanding of what's going on out there in the world right now. COVID-19, without question, has certainly created lots of chaos, emotional chaos, business chaos, some financial chaos as well. So we wanted to do our part to make sure that we're giving out as much information as we possibly can to help our friends and family who are out there in the field.
Dan, I think it'd be important for people to understand why we're in a position to do that. First of all, just with the background that both Dan and I have in the industries, HR for 23 years, mostly in skilled trades and service industry. And then in addition, we on a daily basis are talking to guys out in the field. So we know a little of what's going on. We're getting some feedback from people. We're hearing things that make us really proud to be part of the trades. And we're hearing a few things
Absolutely.
that can cause some distress as well. So
there's no question about it. And Wood, you're exactly right. A lot of contractors, they want to understand the industry as a whole, and the best way to do that is to talk to the folks that are in the trucks. And just as Wood had stated, we're doing that pretty much all day, every day, not just in Dallas, Texas, but in San Antonio and Austin and Houston, all over the Carolinas, and in some cases we get calls from other parts of the country as well. Good solid trades folks in the HVAC, plumbing, electrical trade, and other blue collar industries that they're just concerned about what's going to happen to them tomorrow.
Exactly.
So what would you say was? Sorry.
No, well, go ahead.
Well, what would you say if I were a contractor and I were to call you directly and I were to ask your advice on the best way to handle the situation that the entire country is going through right now with my employees? What would some of the best advice tips from you be?
There's two or three things that you need to be doing right now, and it's a very different time than, hey, typical business. So first of all, your employees are probably your techs, your dispatchers, your back office staff. They're all hungry for, well, what's going on? So given information, number one in that has got to be safety guidelines and safety updates. Where are things at? What are we doing different? Because every company out there worth their salt is actually putting stuff out about what's doing different. Your employees, your techs can see if that's actually occurring or not. And if it's not, they're not happy. Okay. Right. When you tell your clients that, hey, look, we've got our guys in masks, they're going to have, all the safety equipment, the gloves and so forth, and then you send them out and they don't, that's a problem. Now, I get that you can't necessarily get the same type of masks as are being used in hospitals. In fact, what we're being told now is you shouldn't, but there are things you can use to help make that person safer in that environment. Second part of that safety thing is, along with the guideline, you have got to give your people a little bit more leeway. You have clients out there who are desperate for help, and yet they may be in a situation where they're going to put your employee at risk. They'll lab out whether they have someone in the home who's infected or not. Your employee has to have the ability to call an audible when necessary that way. Secondly, and Dan, you talked about this the other day when we were visiting with some guys from Blue Collar Nation. These guys, they need to know what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. Listen, I'll say this, at one discussions in the past where it's hey, do we tell the guys about this or not? Do we talk about where the business is at or not? Because we don't want to scare guys. We don't want to do that. But right now, that's a key. And Dan, you may want to touch on that a little bit further, because
I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
Guys have to know. So, hey, look, there's not any calls as usual. Do what you can to get guys out to calls and keep them up to date. Hey, look, there's more calls this afternoon. There's not any more calls. Cut them loose. You know what? Really focus on that. Then
Well,
the
we live in the
second area is,
technology age, right? So at any point, anybody can grab their phone and they can see what's going on. And it feels a lot more comforting if the company they're working for is giving them that updated information. Even if they decide that they want to go ahead and not pay attention to the info, the fact that it's there definitely speaks volumes about you as the actual contractor and employer.
yeah. I think the thing is appreciation. And look, appreciation can take a lot of different forms. There's a lot of debate out there right now about being able to pay guys extra because essential workers and they're putting themselves at risk. That's great if you're in a position to do it. We also know that a lot of employers right now are just struggling to people to keep them busy, to keep them on payroll, and they're doing what they can. Again, that's an important factor. So if you can't do that, what you can do is make sure recognize it's a sacrifice. You recognize it's a service, but it's helping themselves and the company as they do that. So that's an important factor. Talk about what they're contributing. Talk about the way that they're making a difference in people's lives. And do whatever you can to be a bit motivational. Maybe some of you are like, hey, look, I'm just a blunt sort of guy. This is a time where as a team lead, as a coach, you have to step up and you have to know your guys, you have to know what's going to help them, and you have to be able to give them a little bit of encouragement to get through those days, because there are a lot of doubts out there, there's a lot of concerns out there. So take a little bit more time with your guys, communicate with them, even if it's silly stuff, even if it's about baseball from 3 years ago or
That's
who
right.
their favorite sports team is. You know, those types of things go a long way, and those actually build some character, build not just character but loyalty. They build the rapport and the relationship with that employee. That helps you long term. We heard someone the other day quote Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban says that the way you treat your employees during this period of time is going to affect your business for the next 10 years.
Easy.
So what you need to do is you need to focus on how do you take care of your employees as well as your clients.
Perfect.
And
Well, guys, there's nothing more valuable than information. Again, just to kind of recap what Wood said, every single one of your employees, whether they're an installer, a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC tech, whether it's residential or critical environment commercial, it's critically important that you keep everybody up to date on what's going on, because they can always find that info here. But if they know what's going on as it relates to their day-to-day job, it's going to help put them in a position where they're a lot more comfortable and they'll remember it for the next 10 years. All right, guys, stay tuned as we continue to roll out some 5-minute clips on thoughts that we have of the day. You guys take it easy and be safe out there.
be safe.
Thanks.